Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and welcome back to another NerdTube Star Trek episode review. We're once again talking about Prodigy Season 2. This week we're on episodes 9 and 10, The Devourer of Worlds, All Things Part 1 and 2. Sorry for misspeaking. I'm Major Rage, the host with the most, and I am joined by my fellow Trekkies in arms. To my right, Cousin Cheeto. How are you, sir?
Doing great, doing great. We're excited to talk about finally Prodigy picking up.
Yeah, tell me about it. And below us, the man, the legend, the myth, Zamario. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. This series might be prosperously long, but I am enjoying it.
And also in the chat, we have our boy Daniel Vance, who says it's a Prodigy day. Big hugs for everyone, starting with the cheat, baby. I'll take your hugs and then some, Daniel Vance.
Hugs all around. So, a lot to talk about this week. Big episode. The kids finally arrived at their destination, which is a hidden planet. The mysterious entity was not Chakotay, but it turns out it was Wesley Crusher, and we get a large exposition dump about the mysterious creature that was chasing the Gwen hologram. Just after that little blurb, I want to get some overall impressions, and then we'll jump into details. Cheeto, what were your thoughts about this two-parter overall?
I mean, overall, I thought it was good. It's good that the actual, it's good that the pace is actually picked up. I got some thoughts on some things in this episode, but it's more of a personal preference. But yeah, I mean, I overall, it was a good episode. It was a good episode. It progressed the plot. We got a lot going on. We got some kick-ass Janeway. We got some kick-ass Voyager in this episode. We even got a bit of Chakotay. So, obviously the other shut up, Wesley. So, we can get more into details, but yeah, overall, I thought it was a good episode, and it was definitely about time that this story arc picked up.
No disagreement here. Zam, your overall thoughts?
Well, I semi-called this regarding Wesley. I mentioned a while back, we're doing all this time travel stuff, and remember Wesley from Picard with the time travel. Be interesting if he's involved, and lo and behold, he is involved, and I'm very happy that's the case, because he should be involved in this shit to some capacity. If he's a Time Lord or wherever the fuck he is, as Daniel Vance has been mentioning. So it's good to see him back in some capacity, and he's not a kid anymore, and he hasn't been for many years. The guy in real life, Will Wheaton in real life is 52. That should make us feel very old, considering when we did watch him as a child.
I was about to say, Wesley Crusher is now older. Well, Will Wheaton is now older than Patrick Stewart was when the first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation aired.
Yeah.
That's wild to think about.
Yeah. So
Dino Vance also said, "Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sam. Finish up."
No. But yeah, it was interesting. These episodes, can't wait to talk about it.
Daniel Vance, really quick before we get into it, he says Wesley Time Lord freaking Crusher, and I am so happy that I went in blind. Wesley's appearance was a complete surprise. Never even occurred to me that road was being taken. So
yeah, I get the Time Lord just a little sympathy. He was given some Doctor Who vibes.
Yeah.
Wesley Crusher was, without a doubt.
It definitely felt more like seeing a version of the Doctor than seeing the Wesley we knew from before.
I've got thoughts on that.
I do too. I'm not sure if I'm mad at it or not. I've got to feel it out like I do every week. Read the room. But no, can we talk? We could start with that, actually, talking about how Wesley feels like the Doctor, and kind of the whole episode feels like a really good Doctor Who episode. At times, feeling more like a Doctor Who episode to me than a Star Trek episode. Did you guys think it felt like Trek, or did it feel like something else? I'll start with you, Zam. You seem to be on the same page with me.
Well, the way Prodigy does its thing is it's a very almost unique type of Star Trek to a degree, and obviously being animated, liberties are definitely taken. I think what makes it feel like Trek is the legacy characters that remind you that you are watching Trek. As well, regarding Wesley Crusher, it was Will Wheaton who voicing him, yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, look, he's evolved as a person. It's weird the way he's a very intelligent young man. I mean, he always was, academically, of course. I'm not sure if we never necessarily always saw that in these episodes with him. He became very eccentric, but I guess that's also a growth in his character as well. Something we never really necessarily saw because we just saw him as a young man or a kid, and then boom, now he's middle-aged dude. We never got the luxury of seeing him develop into anything else, and obviously being a Time Lord as well. But I didn't mind it. I mean, God knows how long he's been jumping between different timelines for. It could be, it could be in total for us. It could be millenniums worth. Because he is a time traveler. Maybe things are different for him. Who knows? I'm going on tangents here and stuff like that, but his eccentricness, I think it comes with. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, was he always like that as a younger person?
No,
it's hard to
and
say.
that's kind of what I was going to get with Wesley, is that the eccentricness really doesn't feel natural to me. Like this whole like crazy, like it's almost crazy talking to himself. I'm trying to put a character to it to compare him to, but it just doesn't seem right to me, and it came off very weird for me. I'm glad to see Wesley back, and I'm sure I'll get used to it, but it just felt very off for me. It was really distracting. Every time he'd go off and be talking to himself and doing all these other things, it's just like, that's not exactly what I wanted for Wesley, but I mean, it's their project. They can do what they want with him, but I mean, still, it was very off-putting for me in these two episodes with Wesley being, just being eccentric, and I'm trying to find a character to like compare him. I mean, he's almost like Deadpool with less perversion. Like he's got this like almost this fourth wall breaking style. Like he's like narrating to himself sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's so weird, and I don't know.
I was saying Doctor Who. I mean, he is very Doctor Who in that sense.
I mean, well, I don't watch Doctor Who, so I don't have that much to really compare it to with Who, but I mean, I'll take your word for it.
He's characterized almost exactly like the Doctor from Doctor Who, eccentric from, millennia of time travel and seeing the world from a non-linear perspective.
You know who it felt like? It felt like if Wesley Crusher got into a transporter accident with Neelix. Whoa. Like he looks like Wesley, but he's got like Neelix's personality, Crush. Was it Crushvix or Neil Usher?
I'm scratching my mind now for maybe a character which is less controversial, like the Neelix. But fair enough. I know what you're trying to get at.
Okay.
Let's go comment here from Daniel Vaughn. I think it's interesting. He comes with time travel. You constantly have to be passing what you say to other people. He felt like Zartras to me from Babylon 5.
I mean, Zathras though he was talking, like, as I said, he was, I don't know if he was like talking to himself so much. Most times he was talking to people, and he talked about himself in the third person. Like I don't get the Zathras vibe from him. I definitely get.
I got another way of looking at it. Like he seemed to have been isolated on his own for a long time. He could like almost lose his mind to a degree. You ever seen Tom Hanks in that Castaway, where he ends up becoming like his best mate ends up being a fucking volleyball called Wilson. So it could be that in a way. Like it just makes him he almost ends up being different because of the circumstances in his life.
And it could be, as I said, it was very off-putting for me when he first showed up, and he's just like, blah, 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 blah. It's like an episode of Gilmore Girls. There's just no commas. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like.
And then when you finally sees people again, it's like, oh wow, people are amazing, and he's like so fucking off his nut because he's been on his own for fucking God knows how long. I mean, just an example. I mean, I'm just theorizing.
Now he mentioned the organization did everything, but they had dipped out. They pieced out when everything started going down. There, with it being non-linear, you could be onto something. He could have been alone for a very long time.
Time's funny that way.
Yeah,
time travel's very funny that way.
I just want to mention something in case we've forgotten or we move on, is that apparently there is some sort of paradox merged with the regular timeline, and that's why he's about to try and resolve all this shit. And then, God, I kind of got lost in it. I think with me, as much as I love good time travel stories and stuff like that, this particular one is getting more and more confusing with every fucking episode. And this is supposed to be a kid's show, and I'm fucking finding it.
Well, I mean, I think I said earlier in the season, I think it's grown beyond its child roots. Like, I think they've kind of read the room, and they were like, okay, kids really aren't watching this, so let's just make it Trek. You know what I mean? Let's not try to appeal to kids. Let's try to make a good Trek storyline.
I agree with you, because you got fucking people getting disintegrated and removed from existence. I mean, that's worse than death. That's worse than death for a kid show.
They're completely forgotten about.
Yeah.
Kids shows like their fate's worse than death, though. As long as somebody's like not, it's okay. They're in the shadow realm or something like that. As long as they don't frame it as death.
I think what they're going to do is it's going to be like a Year of Hell scenario. They're going to do something towards the end of the season, and it's going to snap everything back to normal. You know what I mean? Like, all the people will be back. All the what were those things called from the Matrix? The bugs or whatever, the metal bugs.
I think they were called squids or something like that.
Yeah, like the squids. Like, there's so many Matrix like visuals in this season of Prodigy. It's not even funny. You know what I mean? Like it looks like the Nebuchadnezzar is the ship, or the Infinity, and then these time bugs or whatever. They look like the bugs from the Matrix.
You see Matrix 2 where that one thing can merge through your body and shit like that. It can almost turn like ghost like. Even that has been in this series as well.
Sentinels, yes. Thank you, Ginger Greek.
Oh yeah, Sentinels.
And also, where's my beetle snuff, Ginger Greek? If we're gonna be Ferengi, man, we need our beetle snuff.
That's right. Can't leave home without it.
And Daniel Vance, the loom can eat timelines. By the way, another loom. Like, we just had a loom in Loki, by the way. So it can rewrite, and we consider canon alternate timelines, incursions. They're all on the menu. Good.
Yeah, I need somebody to fill my lobes. If we're gonna be Ferengis, I need some
Umox. We need some Umox over here.
Yeah.
I'll rub your lobes if you rub mine.
Well then. Oh my. Do we want to talk about the loom a little more? The cosmic scavengers that erase you from history? Or is there, just...
I don't know what
seems
to make
a little
it.
Silly.
They're just buggy baddies. You know what I mean? Like, they're just supposed to be scary-looking bad guys that chase you around. I mean, they are definitely a threat but at the same time, I don't want to say they're generic, because they're not really generic. They're just a plot device.
Yeah. There's no motivation. No.
Yeah, they're like oh god, what was the name of that shitty Stephen King movie? Not the Longoliers. Oh my god, it's really bad. Regardless, no, I'm sure the book's really good, but the film was really really bad. But I just there's something a bit out of place regarding they're to do with time travel and stuff like that. I sometimes wonder, should only people who are time traveling or emerging through time should be able to see them, because they seem to be able to attack everybody and anybody, and sometimes
I think what they said is that the closer you are to like the time variance, or like the more interaction you have with the time variance, which is Gwyn, the more likely they are to come after you first. But they say eventually they get everything.
Yeah.
But I think they say they start with the time variance and then they go from there.
Kind of work their way out.
Yeah, it's kind of the impression I got. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Daniel Vance can probably correct me on that one, but
no, they reminded me of a Doctor Who monster of the week that had almost the exact same shtick. It was a scavenger that cleaned up messes in the timeline. It's from a series 1 of the reboot, but I digress. That's kind of my thought on it. Generic, felt like a Doctor Who pull, but there's 60 years of time-based sci-fi there. It's gonna have done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I don't mind borrowing from one another as long as they make it their own thing, for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, they got to make it their own. Like, I don't mind them taking, like, premises and making it into their own. Because, yeah, like 60, 70 years of sci-fi, it's going to happen. Like, you can't, you've mined almost all the creativity. You mostly need to focus on good storytelling now, because almost everything's been done that we know of. You know what I mean?
This is a good point. The setting kind of struck me. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
No, it is the Langoliers. Oh my goodness! I want to show you this picture if I get a chance. But yeah, go on, keep going.
What did you guys think about the setting for this when they were primarily on the desert planet with the ziggurat inside the ziggurat?
Temple Run. Getting like
no, man, it's an old Jedi Sith temple or whatever. Like, that's what I thought. I thought it was an old Jedi temple or something.
It felt like the Yavin 4 temple.
The what?
The temple from Yavin 4.
Oh, Yavin 4. Okay.
Well, when they landed on that planet, like, it had like pyramids and everything everywhere, but it had a more futuristic look, and they couldn't tell if they were forward or backwards in time. It could have been either, and obviously there was a historical context. But then you came across a very Earth-looking, like, safe door, that you'd find, and all of that, and then it opens on its own, and lo and behold, Wesley Crusher, makes an appearance with a big smile on his face. So yeah, I don't know. You need settings like that, I guess. It's I don't know. It's just a typical Star Trek setting at this moment in time for me.
The way Leslie was able to manipulate it and stuff made me think of the TARDIS. The way it would change and the open up to rooms that seemed to be bigger than the area that it should be holding it, stuff like that. But the mind thought powers, they're kind of cool. I thought it was a cool gimmick. Even if the end result did make it feel hooey at times.
Yeah, I did notice that Daniel Vance, when fleeing the loom from the temple, Wesley takes the crew to Gary Seven's apartment.
I was wondering what it was referencing with that tiki cup in the room that was all
out. In the episode with Gary Seven in it, in the original series, that's because I think in Picard season 2 we established that the Travelers, and I can't remember what Gary Seven was, but like what are they again? I don't remember what they were called. But they're all like connected, like the Travelers and Gary Seven and all that, like, so that yeah, I caught that.
I didn't. I kind of don't remember much about the Gary Seven episode.
This is the Langoliers for you, by the way. There we go. These like monsters. These people are in a different time, and these monsters, they eat up the old timeline, and so that's what this guy's running away from. It's a really look. I'm sure the book is fantastic, but unfortunately, Stephen King books never necessarily all transitioned well to the TV screen or the movie screen. Some did really well, but a lot of them didn't, and that was one of them. If you watch it now, it's cheesy as fuck.
All right, thanks for that. I can definitely see that you'd get that same vibe from it.
Yeah.
So at the end of part 1, Voyager arrives, and we finally kind of get some more intersection of the plot lines that have diverged. We end up with Majel playing a big part, and it seems that she's going to be playing a part of the story even more so moving forward.
What is it with these animated Star Trek shows that they need to add a Vulcan into the mix, a female Vulcan into the mix? Just this show in Lower Decks, it just feels like a common thing now. God, I'm sounding almost misogynistic by saying a female Vulcan, but I'm just noticing the similarities, that's all. I'm saying that in jest.
Well, no, but you're not wrong where you're saying you're not upset at the fact that it's female. You're upset with the fact that they're both Vulcans and very similar. You know what I mean?
I'm not upset. I'm just pointing out something I've noticed. Yeah. I'm not upset at all.
Okay, not upset, but you know what I mean? Like, you're just pointing out the fact that, look, we've got two very similar characters. They're both Vulcans. Like, could we get it? Like, we've got there's 150 races in the United Federation of Planets. You know what I mean? Like, why? Yeah. But why couldn't the Morn, what's the Illurian? Is that what Morn is?
Yeah, we could have him instead. He can be all quiet and stuff, so they don't have to pay anybody to speak the lines.
No, it would still be a serious foil to a Cavalier kind of maverick character, but Vulcan fits that bill really easily. It's kind of easy to write.
Plus telepathy. There's some plot devices there with telepathy they're using.
Yeah, the bond with Zero seems to be the emotional bonds forming a stronger telepathic bond.
Which you could have done a Beta Z at that point. You know, it's just Vulcans are more like, they look different. You know, like Beta Zs, unfortunately Beta Zs look the same as humans, so there's not much of a difference. Whereas Vulcans obviously have the ears and the eyebrows and everything.
Apparently, it's their pupils that make them a little bit different to humans, but you have to get a fucking microscope to really notice that shit.
Yeah.
I see an interesting comment from Daniel Vance.
I was just gonna is it this one or the one before?
I think they're kind of connected.
So okay, hold on. All right, so Dal makes reference to the greatest captains trusting their guts, and Wesley stops himself from making a remark. And instead, he tells Dal that he'll find out. And then he says, Dal is some sort of genetic lifeboat that includes multiple Starfleet captains. Okay, well, he doesn't act like any Starfleet captain that we've ever seen, ever. And Dal was fine in these episodes. I think he wasn't as insufferable with like the whole I don't understand.
He was part of the team, and he wasn't going to let anybody die and stuff like that, which makes him. It showed the side of his character outside of just being an annoying idiot who never studied. So he was obviously less annoying, but he did kind of create his own paradox by looking into the future. Yeah, because if he kept his eyes shut, he might have ended up being the captain he wanted to be. But by opening his eyes, he saw himself, fail and giving up the chair, which means that he internally now feels that that's got to happen, when that might not have happened if he never saw himself do that. So yeah,
that's a good point. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, one of those.
But I think there could be something to that theory of Daniel Vance's. It seems definitely possible. They probably are going to do something with Dal's origins down the line.
Sorry, go on. Please finish.
I was just going to say, I feel like they have some sort of idea of a big reveal for it. Otherwise, they wouldn't leave it kind of shrouded in as much mystery or be as unexplained as it is. What were you going to say, Zam?
I'm just wondering, how the hell did Janeway lose her jacket?
I don't know, but it has to be, tank top Janeway to be the action Janeway.
Yeah, I was about to say that's what everybody wants is
episode.
action Janeway in the tank top.
Like fucking Die Hard for fuck's sake in space.
Makes me think of fucking Alien.
Yeah, I was say Alien was what I was thinking of.
Good point. I never thought of it like that. It's just that 1 minute she's wearing her outfit, and next you know it's gone. Like, give an explanation to that. Like, maybe that was on the cutting room floor, which is why we never saw it. But I just felt like it just felt a bit weird and a bit more. That felt more like a fan servicey moment, seeing her in a tank top. But then when she's in the ship and when the aliens these time travel bad guys are coming after them, they're trying to attack them. Obviously, their shields, nothing is stopping them. But then she mentions later on that she changed the variances on her lasers and stuff like that. A message I feel that she should have tried to get to the rest of Starfleet or Voyager, to be more precise, so they knew what to do. But yeah.
Daniel Vance says, instead of Janeway in the shuttlecraft, I wish they had finally utilized the captain's shuttle on the underside of the saucer section. It's not the same Voyager, though. Like, I mean, it's Voyager-A, but I mean, it would probably just look the same as like the Sovereign class captain's yacht. The Voyager music score as Janeway is kicking loom tentacles made me very nostalgic. Aww.
Oh, that was a nice piece of musical theming there.
And we see what happens with the Doctor when he loses his emitter. He ends up back on the holodeck, so he doesn't die or fade into nothing.
It's a good backup. Like, I mean, that's a good backup to have in place instead of him shutting off completely. At least he goes somewhere where he can do something. You know, because even from the holodeck, I'm sure the Doctor can access some systems, you know.
Turn on his ECH protocols.
Yeah, emergency captain.
His red outfit.
I want to see more of that. I really want to see more of that. You know, but that was
the emergency command hologram.
But that was like a dream sequence, wasn't it? You know, it was weird that a hologram daydreaming.
No, it actually happened.
No, did
he it? He had to do it because those guys thought that he was the captain. The spies ended up thinking he was the captain. And he had to go play along with it.
But there was also an episode later on where I can't remember who. Somebody came back to Voyager, and the Doctor was the only one there because he was the only one who could survive on Voyager or something like that because they abandoned ship. And he was at the ECH. I think it was it Chakotay?
Was it the end? Was it the finale episode?
No, it wasn't the finale episode.
Or is it the future one where Harry with old Harry Kim and old Chakotay?
Hold on.
No.
Is it?
I'll find it.
Not the one where they have to avoid that giant space whale with the Captain Ahab, wanting to kill it, and you've only got what's her face, 7 of 9, and that little girl.
It was Workforce and Workforce Part 1 and 2.
Okay.
Was the ones I'm thinking
of. I remember those.
I'm
where they get kidnapped onto that planet with the labor shortage.
It's a two-parter, so. Yes.
Am I lagging out?
No, you're fine. It was Cheeto who was.
Oh, okay. So let's see.
Oh, I was
back on track.
You're fine now.
Yeah, it's probably because I'm looking this up.
So, we mentioned earlier, like the loom taking people out and stuff. The loom tried to eat Cheeto stream. That's great. What did you fellas think of the feel of the away mission? Like that was the one part where it like started really feeling right. Felt like Trek to me. When you got 3 guys, you got a red shirt that goes down.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I knew that guy was dead.
yeah. Like guy going on the away mission and you don't know who the fuck he is. It's such a trope now that in a way Star Trek should never not do this anymore because they have to continue doing this. because you need people to die. I want to say, by the way, regarding this episode, these like especially the previous one to the one we're talking about now, I know what it reminded me of, and I forgot to mention it. Time Bandits. It reminded me of Time Bandits a lot. With them running around, being chased, pushing walls and shit like that. Yeah, it very much reminded. Just to get away from something that's trying to devour them or take them over. Yeah, it had that vibe about it for sure. Have you seen? By the way, you haven't seen Time Bandits, have you? Oh, you've got to put that. You and your missus find it, watch it together. 1982, Terry Gillingham, Time Bandits.
Jot it down now.
Yeah. If you like that Monty Python style of shit, I mean,
do love Python.
Well, and Terry Gillingham is a Monty, the only American, Python in there, and he's a director, and his vibe is all over that,
Awesome. I'll have to check that out.
It's a high recommendation, and you'd be wondering to yourself, why the hell have I not seen this movie earlier? It came out in 1982 or 1981, so. Especially with the television series on the horizon, which is like a remake, reboot, whatever of the movie. Highly recommend it. I'm sure Daniel Vance recommends it as well.
Duly noted. So I brought up a little bit about the Majel and Zero's vibe, their bond deepening. What did you guys think about this plot point? Are you enjoying it, or does it feel forced? I'll start with you, Sam.
Yeah, like because of the telepathic thingy they got together, which makes them a bit more connected than everybody else, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It's all right. I guess we'll see where it goes in the future. I mean, would it end up being a romance between a non-binary character and a Vulcan young girl? Who knows? I mean, we'll see how it pans out.
Any feelings one way or the other, Cheeto?
Not really. I mean, it doesn't stick out to me, really. I mean, like it just, I don't want to say it feels forced, but it doesn't feel natural either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on the fence about it.
It's early days, I think, as well.
Yeah,
we've got 10 more episodes to see how they handle it and where to go with it.
Yeah.
But I was kind of impressed that they went there with, as dark as they did, with Wesley being willing to let her die to protect everybody else. That seemed dark for something that's supposed to be for kids to me, but I appreciated it a little bit. I feel like it was what the character would do.
I just know Wesley was like that. I think being on the Enterprise for so long, being a hero just came naturally. I mean, he did at one point save the entire Enterprise crew from a fucking puzzle video game. So he. I was surprised he was willing. Like they Jake Skywalkered him, didn't they? They Jake Skywalkered him, Rian Johnson style, with this episode. So I just thought that was a little bit out of character. I didn't think of him as somebody who would let, especially a child, die. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I kind of felt like it was because Wesley has more of a view of the tapestry of time, and I think maybe Wesley, he sees more what's on the line than what Dal does, and because so I mean, I'm glad that they saved Majel, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I kind of understand what Wesley was talking about. He's like, no, like the multiverse is on the line. And maybe he knew the fact that if we succeed, everything returns back to normal. Like, I'm telling, like, I really feel like towards the end of the season that this is gonna, like, everything's gonna kind of bounce back to normal. Like, a lot of the people that were erased, I feel like they're gonna come back. Like at the end, I was waiting for them to kill, like, erase like Janeway or the Andorian first officer, like, just because like they were like, you know, they're going to bring him back anyway. But yeah. Really quick before we move on, Daniel Vance says Wesley and the Traveler let the war over the water happen in the Traveler episode. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of what I'm saying is like, you know, that Wesley, like the Travelers kind of see the grand tapestry, and you know that they're willing to make the hard call because they see more what's at stake than what's like right in front of Dow's face. Speaking of which, Dow just he just reached his hand up and hit a button, and then all of a sudden the portal opened. Like,
yeah,
you couldn't even see what he was hitting. He's like, eh.
Yeah, really lucky.
Yeah, really lucky.
Okay, so let's looking over my notes. We just talked about that, but it's a luck. Maybe it's fate, because she is part of the solution. It turns out, so it could be something like that working.
Mm-hmm.
We've
yeah, but she's part of the 7 now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Because like I realized it wasn't supposed to be 6 of you guys. It's supposed to be 7, and
I was waiting for a snarky comment from Majel being like, "Well, I'm glad," or well, I guess she wouldn't have really known that Wesley wasn't going to save her. Maybe, you know, like Majel or Dal would have said something like, "Oh, then I guess I'm glad I saved her, Wesley."
That would be typical Dal. I'm glad he didn't go there.
I mean,
I'm hoping that vision of, yeah, I'm hoping the vision of the future indicates that him acting more mature, and in that scene, hopefully it comes to pass and he'll get some development. Being willing to admit that he's not the captain or shouldn't be the captain would be a big leap for him based on where he is now. They've kind of been doing that as a plot point for him, just this obsession with being captain.
There hasn't really been a moment where he needs to think on his feet as a captain, and I think when that moment happens to him and he realizes he's out of his depth while the whole crew are looking at him for an answer and he can't give it to them, that's when he's going to come to, and then maybe someone like Gwen steps in. I think that's when he's going to realize he's out of his depth.
Daniel Vance says there are always 7: Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Uhura, Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov.
Writers love 7. 7 goes, like, there's 7s in folk stories all the way back as old as written stories are a thing. I love it.
7 seasons.
7 seas.
Magnificent 7.
7 samurai.
7 samurai.
7 contributors. Oh, wait, no.
I guess you got to get rid of me. You got to whittle it down to the best.
Please. I'm whittling some other people off.
Nah.
I whittle myself off before I whittle you off.
Oh, hush. See, I'm over here floundering. I've just got one note left, and it's kind of about the end. Where just, you know, the conclusion, Wes may or may not be sacrificing himself in that moment to send the kids to Chakotay and Janeway to Voyager's battle bridge. You know, he, the planet, and all of the loom disappear completely, so...
Well, he's definitely not dead, but he did some sort of play where he could escape. That's for sure. I'm not saying whether he saved everyone or not, but he definitely escaped.
If they were going to kill off Wesley Crusher, they would make it definite and show you that happening. But they wouldn't do that because so many stands would be so upset.
I was about to say, we technically just got him back. Like, I know he's had a cameo in Picard season 2, right? Or was that 3?
It was 2.
It was 2. You know, we got him in Picard season 2, and now we actually have him like in more. You know, like so. I think they've got big plans for Crusher. I think he's good. This is going to go beyond Prodigy. I think he's going to be kind of like, you know, kind of like one of those, you know, connective tissues to.
Yeah, like a Q, but
kind of
like Q, but you'll see him in episodes here and there. The guy's like I said, the actor's 52 years old. He's got many years of being involved in Star Trek left, you know, for him to show up. as that familiar face, as that legacy character, you know. So they're not going to get rid of him anytime soon or kill him off. You know, if he was an older actor, then I can understand that. But he's just not for him.
I mean, heck, they even tried to kill Picard off, but they didn't do that.
Yeah, or Data.
Yeah, I know, right? Data was back like 4 times.
The only person they kind of stuck with, and he's not technically dead, is Avery Brooks. And Tucker. And
Tasha Yar.
Yeah, Tasha. She came back
for an episode.
No, but she's. I mean, look, the actress has come back in some capacity.
As Sela. I mean, I guess, but
yeah. But Trip Tucker's the only one I can really think of that they stuck with.
Trip didn't actually die. These are the voyages, isn't canon.
Section 31. He's going to show up in that movie.
I would love to see that, to tell you the truth. But he'll be in the alternative universe.
You know, nobody talks about that in Section 31, what kind of cameos we might see throughout that. Like, you know, of characters that it just depends on the timeline, like where in time they are, you know. But like, yeah, like you could see a Trip Tucker if they go back, you know.
Yeah.
Like an alternate version of Tucker, an alternate, you know, like some of those actors that just, you know, you won't see coming. Like, I'm not saying like Archer's going to show up or anything, or even Avery Brooks is going to show up. But, you know, you could have like a Trip Tucker, like a Mirror Universe Trip Tucker show up or something like that. That'd be, I would mark out for that.
Yeah.
We could do a highly illogical podcast on cameos we'd like to see in Section 31.
Yeah.
I can imagine
there you go, Mage. We gotta write that one down.
The film comes out, we don't see jack shit.
I know, right? We're gonna do all this theorizing, and we ain't gonna see no Mirror Universe. But that was always the fun episode, like the fun of the Mirror Universe episodes would be, you know, would be alternate versions of you know, like, yeah, I love like how they kept killing people in the DS9 Mirror Universe episodes. It's like they killed off Quark, they killed off Rom, then they killed off Nog. Like, it's like they kept on, you know, like all the Ferengi kept dying. I think they had like, I don't know who they even had left towards the end. Cisco died in the Mirror Universe.
Daniel Vance nailed it regarding our fan service. We're going to get Rachel Garrett. I mean, that's
that'd be cool.
Yeah, but obviously she's not a name that rolls off the tongue for Star Trek fans, really, compared to people who are way more recognizable and who've been in episodes upon episodes.
Made you weren't a part of our discussion from Comic-Con, right?
I wasn't able to make it. I had family over.
My big thing with Rachel Garrett is just like, okay, wait a minute. So this lady who is now supposed to be a part of Section 31, if it is prime timeline Rachel Garrett, I think it's supposed to be. She goes from that then to being captain of the Enterprise C. Like, what she just decided to get out of the game and go for a captaincy? Like,
they don't let you out of that sort of thing. You know too much.
Yeah.
Like I said, she's also gone back in time and she's in the parallel universe, so I expect the molecules to start fucking up.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping like it's Rachel Garrett is like their contact in the Mirror Universe, but it's actually Mirror Universe Rachel Garrett. You know what I mean? Like I just
if it's Mirror Universe Rachel Garrett, she still has gone back in time, but she's in their own universe.
Well, it just depends on if they're actually in
that timeline.
In that time frame of where Georgiou was originally, or is it just going to be in the Mirror Universe? Because somebody said something about it being in the 24th century, I think. Like, because I know the Mirror Universe originally with Discovery was in the 23rd century. Somebody said it was going to be the 24th century, you know, with because Rachel Garrett's there. So I don't know. I'm just gonna wait for it to come out and see it, and we'll see what happens. But still,
February next year, for fuck's sake.
Well, yeah,
a long time still.
It's only 6 months.
Still,
Lincoln, that'll be gone.
Half a year. We still have to. Yeah, we still got like a Halloween and the Thanksgiving, as you guys have a bonfires night at Christmas. All of this shit we have to go through before we get to that.
Good point. So yeah, I'm kind of out of things to talk about. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we do marks and throw up the poll?
Look,
Nope.
it's a good episode, but in a way, at the same time, there's not much to chew on, which is why we were kind of struggling at the same time. Look, all these guys were doing was running around from fucking place to place, not trying not to get caught. There was no, it was a fun episode, and it kind of was more tying into the overarching premises. But until we saw Chakotay sitting on his own for fuck knows how many years he has been, and where's his mate as well? By the way, I was curious on that.
Did he eat him?
Yeah,
He ate him. He wanted some fried chicken.
Some Colonel's recipe right there turned him into, but
herbs and spices.
Yeah. So
by the way, they like drawing beards in this show. Like everybody's got a beard. Like Wesley has a beard, which I know he has a beard in other stuff too. But it's like then Chakotay has a beard, and then, like everybody's got beards.
Even
it's an easy way to indicate time has passed.
Even Spock had a beard at one point. Oh
yeah, well,
Xant is coming back. Xant is part-time now. Yeah, so but yeah. So yeah, it was very hard to talk about this episode as an entirety. It's just chase scenes upon chase scenes and them fucking not trying to get caught. There's a lot of that. And the exposition dialogue we got, it was just gobbledygook regarding time travel, which made no, like, who gives a fuck? If it means just getting to your next destination, go for it. I mean, that's all that really matters. How we're going to get to Chakotay, and that's what we got by the end. And all these characters, and all these other characters like rok-tauk and Jenkin Pog and Murph, like they were just there. They offered nothing regarding the overall plot as well. Even Gwen regarding her time variance thing, not much to offer. He said Dahl wasn't annoying, which meant he had nothing to offer either. So
it was a Wesley and Janeway episode.
It really was.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, for sure.
All right. Any final thoughts, Cheeto?
No, not really. I mean, the beard thing was the only thing I wanted to bring up that we didn't bring up. But I mean, beards all around. But no, it's kind of it. Polls up. So if y'all want to go and vote, everybody out there in the chat, if you want to vote,
please do. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions. People down the line on the bod need to tell us how wrong we are in the comments about these marks we're about to give. Who wants to go first on marks?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give both episodes a 7. I feel like that these episodes flowed well enough that they like just one episode for me.
It felt like one TNG or Voyager episode.
Yeah, so I felt like it flowed really well between the two. But I'm going to give them a 7 overall. But I see your guys' point where I didn't really think of it that way. But yeah, it really is just the Wesley and Janeway show where all the kids are just following the Wesley Brick Road, so the kids are definitely out of their depth, but Wesley is pulling them out of the fire. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't see the kids really helping their case, their own case here, but I just, they're relying on Wesley and if Wesley wasn't there, they'd be dead, pretty much is what it boils down to. So yeah, it was kind of just rely on Wesley Day.
Yeah, fair points. Zam?
It's weird in a way. Like, I was thinking prior to this episode, prior to reviewing it, how it was really good to get back on track. But at the same time, both of these episodes felt a little bit hollow. Like I said, it was just a glorious chase to get us to our next destination, and it was fun and exciting in that sense. But the fact that we found it so difficult to talk about kind of really shows you how hollow it was. So both episodes gets a 6 for me. I had a good time though. Hey, Bandito Mussolini, welcome back.
It's a power line.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you later, Bandito. All right.
And I think I'm going to give it a 7 as well. Both episodes. Not necessarily great Trek, but great sci-fi. Felt more like a Doctor Who episode for sure, but I like Doctor Who a whole lot, so I'm not necessarily mad at it. I like seeing Wesley. I've always been a Wesley stan. I can buy time travel making him act so eccentric. I've always wanted like kind of the travelers to be fleshed out some. I feel like they had something with that plot line, and never addressing what happened to Wesley after he left with the traveler was a little bit of a waste. So it's nice to see that kind of get brought to the forefront and get some explanation.
9 sausages from Daniel Vance. 9 big fat sausages across the board. Easter eggs, pacing, score, sausages and eggs. Yeah, I can understand it. Yeah.
It's better, definitely better than anything I'd seen on Prodigy the past couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We are halfway through now, finally. So I expect from next week onwards, we're gonna have Chakotay now basically hand holding our lot, being like the like the big I am, like the person in charge of these kids, so they can stay in line. He's gonna have their responsibility whilst they figure out how to get him back to his timeline, because he still needs to go back and be captured. Which is a sad thing, really.
How do you talk him into doing that?
Well, the funny thing is, can you talk this one into doing that? Because at the same time, it was his past self that needed to be captured, not his current self. So it's all up in the air. Yeah, I'm sure Murph will fucking transform into something like the Pokemon.
I mean, he already did transform into something a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, but he'll transform into some flux, turn into a flux capacitor, or some shit like that, and boom, everything's back to normal again.
Okay, so that's been our review of episodes 9 and 10 of Season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy. I want to thank you all for joining us. If you've liked what you've seen, please subscribe to NerdTube. But there's more than just Star Trek here. Talk about all sorts of things. Zam does House of the Dragon reviews, Mayor of Kingstown reviews. If you subscribe to our Patreon, you can get the food videos and be like us and contributors, where we see Zam's beautiful cooking on his Zam-O-Matic 5000.
Oh yeah, I just got that recently, baby. Made some chicken wings and some.
On top of that, you will get all fan film reactions released early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Members get access to fan film reactions pretty much as soon as I upload them. So, yeah.
That's a big perk, because the fan film reacts, those are fun stuff. I love doing those.
Yeah, me too.
It's always a good watch.
Always wrestling reviews as well. I won't be doing SummerSlam this week, but we will be doing Bash at Berlin by the end of the month. So join us for that. And there will be a review of Terminator X coming soon to a NerdTube near you.
Oh, the Netflix series? The anime?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I saw the trailer. I think it might have been on Nerd Nation. I just watched the trailer right before we started.
Yeah, I posted it there.
I liked it. I
might
watch it
join
and
me for
review it with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm looking forward to that. Some anime. I haven't reviewed an anime in ages, so it'd be good.
I've never reviewed an anime at all, so it looks really nice to branch out a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to thank the audience one more time. Thank you to my co-host, Cousin Cheeto and Zamario. It's always a pleasure working with you, gentlemen. And cheers to Daniel Vance. But in case you forgot, if we didn't mention it enough times, the channel is NerdTube.